Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. You are listening to Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity on Conservative Talk Radio. We've heard from State Senator Chris McDaniel's folks. He's on the way, should be here in studio shortly. Let's grab clip number 6 if we can, Rob. You go back to George Bush having the shoe thrown at him. Remember, the Iraqi journalist threw 2 shoes at him, not 1, but 2. But you go back to 2008 when this Iraqi journalist threw these shoes at President Bush. This is how ABC and CBS referred to the shoe thrower. They referred to him as a celebrity, as a folk hero, as a man who thrilled the Arab world. David Schuster, 2009 with MSNBC, actually cheered the day when this guy was released from prison. Now, let's compare that with how the media has responded to Hillary Clinton having a shoe thrown at her. Instead of lionizing the shoe thrower and demonizing the throwee, as they did with Bush in 2008, listen to the way they lionize the throwee, lionize the target of the shoe thrower.
How scary is that? She thought it was a bat, so didn't process what was really happening. But that shoe came so close to her face. Had it hit her, it would have been awful. It would have been awful. But this woman is in custody. We don't know a lot about her at this point. But we do know it's hard for me to watch.
Hillary Clinton took that with good humor, but it was a scary moment. As for the woman who did it, no indication of who she is yet. They haven't identified her by name, and no indication as to why she threw that shoe.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton, quick with the quip, but that was a scary moment there for a second.
Boy, she handled that quite well, didn't she?
She really did.
We don't know why the woman threw the shoe, but she is facing federal charges.
You know, it was amazing to see how calm she was.
Exactly.
Yeah, she didn't really react much at all and had a great retort, you know.
About Cirque du Soleil.
About Cirque du Soleil, and saying, glad she didn't play softball like I did.
And again, we're not for any journalists or attendees throwing shoes at anybody. Don't misunderstand me. That's not what this is about. We're not saying it's okay to throw shoes at liberals, but not okay to throw them at conservatives. We're not saying that. It's not okay to throw shoes at anybody. The point here is to look at the way the media reacted, the way they lionized Hillary. They couldn't say enough wonderful things about her, how adept she was, how adroit she was, how scary she was, how much aplomb she showed when this thing went down. Whereas with President Bush, all they could talk about is what a celebrity the shoe thrower guy was in the Arab world. Now, clip number 7 is President Obama talking over the weekend about this equal pay business. And as you listen to this, do not forget that in the White House, women are paid 88 cents for every dollar that men earn. 88 cents for every dollar that men earn. There is not what President Obama calls equal pay in the White House. And the other thing, as you listen to this soundbite, do not forget, we've looked at this. We've gone over the studies. I won't bore you with them, but it's very, very clear. Extensive studies have been done when you have a woman who has the same education as a man, the same experience in the same profession, she gets the same pay. So anybody that tells you differently is lying to you. Let's listen to President Obama talking about equal pay this weekend.
Hi, everybody. Earlier this week was Equal Pay Day. It marks the extra time the average woman has to work into a new year to earn what a man earned the year before. You see, the average woman who works full-time in America earns less than a man, even when she's in the same profession and has the same education.
Wrong.
That's wrong. In 2014, it's an embarrassment. Women deserve equal pay for equal work. This is an economic issue that affects all of us. Women make up about half of our workforce, and more, they're our family's main breadwinners. So it's good for everyone when women are paid fairly. That's why this week I took action to prohibit more businesses from punishing workers who discuss their salaries, because more pay transparency makes it easier to spot pay discrimination. And I hope more business leaders will take up this cause.
So that's President Obama. You know, and you think about, I mean, so much is wrong with that statement. Number one, when he says that women with the same education, same profession get different pay, that's just false. It's a lie. It's not true. So he's misleading the American people. And who knows how many people are out there that don't have the benefit of the truth. And so they believe what they are hearing. They believe that women are routinely discriminated against in the marketplace when it comes to pay. And it's absolutely simply not true. And then if President Obama cares so much about this, if equal pay is that it ought to be dollar for dollar, doesn't matter what the education level is, doesn't matter what the experience is, doesn't matter what the responsibility is, everybody ought to get paid dollar for dollar. Well, then why does he have this pay discrepancy in the White House? So at least he ought to just stop talking about this until he's taken care of his knitting at home. So that is President Obama. Now, I've got a story in the stack about how millennials are becoming increasingly disaffected with President Obama. Let's play clip number 9. This is an Obama millennial. So when you think about how we've lost the millennials, we can't get them, they're gone, they're liberal, there's nothing we can do about it, they're going to be liberal to the day they die. Here is a young woman, she's a millennial. She started off as an Obama bot. She bought the T-shirt, big-time supporter of Obama. Now listen to her after 5 years of suffering under this administration. Let's listen.
Like a lot of Obama supporters, I sat back for the next couple years and figured I'd let you handle all that change because you're the one that was selling it anyway. And then when I decided that maybe I should Google the news to see what was going on in the world, I found that you would become exactly like the George Bush that I used to so vitriolically hate. And now I know that your advisors don't always tell you about all the evil things that are going on in your administration because you're just too busy. At least that's what you tell the news. So I thought I'd give you a recap of all of the mayhem and crime that you've been committing. You bailed out bankers and placed them in your cabinet. You placed Monsanto in charge of your FDA. You helped out pharmaceutical and health insurance companies with Obamacare. You expanded Bush's wars and started new ones with drones, branding yourself a humanitarian warmonger. You bragged about crippling sanctions against Iran, though they directly affected civilians. You extended the Patriot Act and asserted your right to spy on the American people. You also asserted your right to detain them without trial. You even seized the authority to assassinate Americans without providing any evidence of their guilt or offering them due process of law. You viciously punish journalists and pursue whistleblowers who expose your crimes, though you vowed to protect them when you were running for office. You arm al-Qaeda insurgencies, refuse to close Guantanamo, and you, along with Congress, have criminalized protest. And still, you have the audacity to scold dictators about democracy, protest, and freedom.
So that's an Obama millennial burning the T-shirt. At the end of that little YouTube segment, she actually burns her Obama T-shirt. Here's a piece from the Wall Street Journal from this morning. Young voters have moved on, losing interest in Obama. That's basically the thrust of this piece. Here's how it begins. President Obama inspired a generation of young people to support his historic election in 2008. And in 2012, despite the struggles of his first term, Obama still managed to win the support of a full 60% of voters age 18 to 29. But the man who once dreamed of being a transformative leader in the Reagan mold is inspiring few of those young people to follow his lead. Here's the New York Times. For all the talk about the movement that elected Mr. Obama, the more notable movement of Obama supporters has been away from politics. It appears that very few of the young people who voted for him, and even fewer Obama campaign and administration operatives, have decided to run for office. Far more have joined the high-paid consultant ranks. Here's Harvard pollster John Della Volpe. If you were to call it an Obama generation, there was a window. That opportunity has been lost. Mr. Della Volpe's polling of 18 to 29-year-olds shows that only 35% now believe that running for office is an honorable pursuit. So, Ronald Reagan inspired a lot of admirers. He inspired a lot of followers. He inspired a lot of folks to follow him into public policy. That's not happening with President Obama. In fact, the trends are going completely in the other direction, to the point where Obama millennials now are even burning his T-shirts. I mean, it was something to watch that little YouTube of his T-shirt actually being burned by this Obama millennial who bought the entire Obama line back in 2008, big-time supporter, bought the T-shirt, voted for him, told all of her friends to vote for him. And so clearly I think the lesson here is it's way premature for the Republican Party to think they've lost the millennials, that the millennials are gone and never can be recaptured. I believe that millennials will be persuaded by a consistent conservative vote. You talk about things like life and liberty and family. This matters to millennials. A lot of them victims of divorce, so they know the importance of a strong family. I want to welcome to our Focal Point studio State Senator Chris McDaniel. And Senator McDaniel is with us here live in studio. Thank you, Senator, for taking time to be with us.
It's great to be here again. Thanks for having me.
You bet. And can we persuade you to stay over a little bit into the next
Absolutely.
segment?
I'd love to.
Now, Senator McDaniel, State Senator McDaniel, state of Mississippi, is running against incumbent Thad Cochran, who's a 6-term incumbent. He's a classic, I guess you'd call him a ruling class Republican. In fact, Senator McDaniel, Senator Cochran has more buildings named after him than any other sitting member of Congress. And I guess the question for voters in Mississippi, is that a resume enhancer, or should that be a matter of concern to people that care about their pocketbooks?
Well, if you care about your pocketbooks, it should be a serious, serious matter of concern. And something else, too, and this is a side note, but if we're going to name buildings after people, there are a lot of good military people out there that have given their lives, a lot of people that have fought for their country, a lot of folks that have made the ultimate sacrifice. One would think those are the perfect folks to name buildings of. But now living senators, not so much. But now looking back on it, the spending that we've been doing, we have to control the spending. We have to control this debt. Our country is in big trouble. And if we don't begin to recognize that and to send people to Washington that promise to change the system, we're going to be in big trouble.
My guest here in studio is State Senator Chris McDaniel, who is challenging Senator Thad Cochran in the Republican primary. This is a race that's gotten the attention of the nation. Pundits all across the fruited plain believe that Senator McDaniel has probably the best shot of anybody at unseating an established Republican incumbent. The primary is in June. And by the way, we have extended an invitation to Senator Cochran. And we actually, Senator McDaniel, are receiving a call back from his campaign, which may be an indication that they're really starting to get concerned, because they've not even called us back before. We'll have more questions for Senator Chris McDaniel taking on Senator Thad Cochran right after these brief messages. Stay with us. We'll be right back in 2 minutes. Focal Point, AFR Talk.
Do you look forward to that first cup of joe in the morning? Something about a delicious cup of coffee just seems to set the tone for the day. If you're passionate about good coffee, Thomas Street Coffee is for you, and it does more than just help you start your day. Every time you buy Thomas Street Coffee, you help support the ministry of AFA. There are too many different roasts and blends to mention here, so if you want to find out more, stop by our website, thomasstreetcoffee.com.